Coming up on Fulton Today, Fulton's district attorney takes steps to prevent wrongful convictions, and it's a first in the state. We'll have details.
From transportation to health care, the chairman's State of the County address explains why Fulton County is a big deal. I'm Brian Robinson, and I'll have more on this story coming up.
And nursing pioneers of the once segregated Grady Hospital are celebrated for their perseverance. That and Fulton's farewell to a commissioner starts right now on Fulton Today. Welcome to Fulton Today, everybody. I'm Shania Chavis-Rucker. A tough week for Fulton commissioners as they say farewell to the dean of their board. We'll have a special remembrance for the longtime public servant, Commissioner Emma I. Darnell, just a little later in the show. Meanwhile, Chairman Rob Pitts delivers his second State of the County address, and he declares to colleagues, constituents, and residents that when it comes to transportation, health care, and business, Fulton County is a big deal. FGTV's Brian Robinson joins us with more on this story. Brian?
Shawnee, the chairman told the distinguished guests that everything a person needs is right here in Fulton County.
It's truly remarkable for a government.
County leaders, city mayors, and state representatives were all in attendance to hear Fulton's chairman speak. But before they heard from him, those in the Flourish Ballroom in Buckhead took a moment to remember the late Commissioner Emma Darnell.
I would like to ask each of you to stand and join me for a moment of silence in honor of my longtime friend and colleague, Commissioner Emma I. Darnell. Thank you.
Guests also watched a video with all of Fulton's commissioners highlighting the county's priorities for 2019.
Issues confronting the region as a very big deal.
But it was the chairman's keynote address that gave the overview of the current state of the county.
When it comes to serving people, customer service in Fulton County is a big deal. One of the major differences between counties and cities is that we are in the people business, not just bricks and mortar. Senior services, healthcare, job development, arts, libraries, and criminal justice. These are the things that we do each and every day. We're in the midst of a major infrastructure campaign to renovate our libraries, wrapping up a 12-year, $275 million library master plan. And because pets are also a big deal in Fulton County and can be found in 65% of our households, just last week, my colleagues and I on the Board of Commissioners approved a feasibility study that is the first step in our efforts to construct a brand new state-of-the-art facility in Fulton County for our pets.
Also a big deal, according to the chairman, health care. This year, Fulton County is investing $60 million in the Grady Health System. An additional $80 million in bonds will go to Grady's new surgical center. The recent addition of 6 major companies and upgrades coming to the airport show the entrepreneurial spirit is alive and well in the county. All good news for Fulton state, local, and business partners.
Fulton County is growing. People are working together. As the sponsor of the legislation that created the county's newest city, I'm excited about the relationship between the county and the city and how we're going to move forward. I think there are big things going on in Fulton County.
Fulton County is very important as a partner with the city of Fairburn. There are some things that we're doing with Fulton County because the city of Fairburn has to align itself with partnerships that are about doing, having that vision for the city as well as the county, because we are both connected. When one is doing well, the other one is doing well. So we always look for partnerships that's a win-win. And Fulton County has been very instrumental in the city of Fairburn doing some of the things that they have on board and also helping us with our vision.
Well, Roswell Inc. is a partner, economic development partner with the city of Roswell. We partner and bring jobs. That's important to us, to bring jobs, develop businesses, keep them in our city, and bring new business. Select Fulton has been a tremendous partner to us in helping us bring those large businesses and developments to Roswell and helping to fund those developments. It's been a wonderful partnership.
As the event concluded, many in the room even agreed.
Fulton County is, now help me out, a big deal. Thank you.
Now, the chairman's speech did also include some challenges such as transportation, sex trafficking, HIV, AIDS, and opioids. The chairman says those issues will continue to be a priority for 2019. Reporting for FGTV, I'm Brian Robinson.
Thank you, Brian. Fulton and DeKalb's Board of Assessors come together for a routine joint meeting. This gathering with both boards is to ensure uniformity exists in the sales ratio of both counties. This annual meeting is necessary since the city of Atlanta lies in Fulton and DeKalb. Fulton's chief appraiser, Dwight Robinson, is pleased to report uniformity does exist.
DeKalb's sales ratio, the median ratio, puts them at 98%, and here in Fulton we're at 97%.
The chief appraiser went on to say the sales ratio variance can be no more than 10%. Fulton and DeKalb are in full compliance with Georgia state law since the current variance is at 1%. Meanwhile, the chief appraiser was also busy helping Citizens University students comprehend assessments. Dwight Robinson and representatives from the tax assessor's office provided an in-depth explanation about the tax assessment process. From determining property values to how they can be appealed, the students heard all about the services the assessor's office offers. In addition, Department of Finance representatives explained how the budget is balanced and how that plays a key role in ensuring Fulton remains financially stable. Hearing from Fulton's chief appraiser and the finance department gave the class a better understanding of how each department makes key decisions that impact all of Fulton County residents.
The budget is obviously a big concern. Revenues in comparison to expenditures. I'm always interested in that type of stuff. Being a taxpaying citizen and a homeowner, you always want to know, where your dollars are going and that they're being spent, wisely and appropriately. So.
Just to hear the assessor go through some of the things that are already new, but engage the audience with questions that were he answered to the best of his ability, and just to know how my taxes or my house are assessed was good knowledge and good information.
Up next for the students, hearing how the county's departments of arts and culture and libraries provide opportunities for all citizens to be culturally enriched. Fulton's district attorney takes a bold step to investigate and remedy wrongful convictions. DA Paul L. Howard Jr. announces his new Conviction Integrity Unit, the first of its kind in the state. FGTV's Daryl Carver has the story.
With former Georgia Governor Roy Barnes and a former deputy ADA by his side, District Attorney Paul Howard explained why his office now operates the state's only criminal integrity unit.
I think this case illustrates why it is important for our office to put together this unit.
The case referenced is the State versus Frederick Gant. In 2013, Frederick Gant was sentenced to life in prison for 2 murders. After the trial, the DA's office learned one of its major witnesses was in the DeKalb County Jail under an alias during the night in question.
Mr. Gant, the defendant in the case, was retried. He was retried without the testimony of Mr. Smith, and he was found not guilty. Because the state did not have Mr. Smith's perjured testimony.
The Criminal Integrity Unit already has an advisor in Governor Barnes and a consultant in Melissa Redmond, now a UGA professor. The unit will also feature a new director and an 8-member review panel who will decide if a case falls into at least one of 4 categories to be considered for reinvestigation.
I think that what we have here is a recognition that I rush to judgment sometimes. There are folks that shouldn't have been convicted, or they shouldn't have been convicted of what they were because of other circumstances, and the heat of the moment pushed things over.
And what we hope the unit will concentrate on is not just the reviews that Mr. Howard has talked about, is also those front-end reforms to prevent any wrongful convictions in the future.
The district attorney says his office is taking a significant risk by creating the Criminal Integrity Unit. Former Governor Roy Barnes disagrees.
This is so necessary, and I want to tip my hat to Paul Howard. Most prosecutors would never do this. And I want to tip my hat to Paul Howard for the courage that he has at looking at mistakes that occurred and be willing to make sure they're set right.
The first case the Criminal Integrity Unit hopes to set right is the Wayne Williams Atlanta child murders. Reporting for FGTV, I'm Daryl Carver.
Thank you, Daryl. Part of the CNN Investigates team helps Fulton's justice partners celebrate the law and the First Amendment. The courts, along with the Atlanta Bar Association and the Gate City Bar Association, hosted Law Day 2019 at the Judge Romay T. Powell Juvenile Justice Center in downtown Atlanta. Inspired by the First Amendment, this year's Law Day theme was free speech, free press, and free society.
There is a message for younger people to get into law through this process. There are scholarships that are funded, and those scholarships give opportunity for young people to go to Washington to experience the law as it is in that environment, and perhaps to be inspired to maybe go on to either work within the juvenile law or maybe work outside of juvenile law, but also just be engaged in the legal process.
The Law Day program featured guest speakers Melissa Golden, a photojournalist, and Ashley Fentz from CNN Investigates. The agenda also included the presentation of the 2019 Future Leaders of American Scholarship recipients and a Law Day version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
I wanted to participate in today because I felt that journalists have to be able to explain the importance of the First Amendment to the public, and the more that we can engage and explain how we do our job, the more there'll be greater understanding.
I really wanted to stress the importance of the Fourth Estate's role in a functioning democracy, the importance of determining truth, seeking truth, disseminating truth. We're having a hard time with that these days in this country, and it's difficult to know where to turn to for good information, but I do want people to know that the classic news outlets are still worth listening to and reading.
President Dwight D. Eisenhower proclaimed May 1st as Law Day in 1958 as a way for communities to reflect on the role of law in the foundation of our country and to recognize its importance for our society. And coming up next on Fulton Today, remembering Commissioner Emma I. Darnell in our district by district coverage. In this special district-by-district coverage, we remember the life and legacy of the Dean of the Fulton County Board of Commissioners, District 6 Commissioner Emma I. Darnell.
During her 27 years as a member of the Board of Commissioners of Fulton County, she served with 23 different commissioners. She loved Fulton County government, its employees, and most of all, its citizens, as she would say, from Alpharetta to Palmetto, from Buckhead to Bankhead, and she especially loved her senior citizens.
Emma was a ferocious warrior for the things that she believed in. She loved her community. She loved Southwest Atlanta. Emma Darnell feared no one. In fact, there are many here who feared Emma Darnell. lot of people wonder why she had such power about herself and about her being. It was because we knew as the mass of people that her having the class that she had, we could trust her.
And I'm proud to be with you today on this occasion. I'll miss my friend, both a personal friend and a political one. Thank you.
Fulton leaders shed light on mental health awareness. As a part of Mental Health Awareness Month, the county is hosting a number of programs to inform residents about the services available to them. During one of the presentations at the Fulton County Government Center, one of Fulton's behavioral health clinicians hosted a session on living your best life. It was an insightful discussion on finding purpose and inner happiness.
It's important for the county to offer this class because as employees, we get so consumed with life and personal factors that we often bring those to work with us, and we need to be mindful to be able to separate our personal and our professional so that while we are here, we can give our most to the county, the citizens, and the job itself.
Mental illness, it alters your mind, the way that you think, or your behavior, or just your actions in general. So if they notice a change, or if they talk with their primary care doc, a lot of times the doctor will make some recommendations.
Fulton commissioners kicked off the month with an official proclamation as a part of the county's strategic priority, all people are healthy. There are 2 events this week in recognition of Mental Health Awareness Month. You can get details on the county's website. Meanwhile, Fulton seniors are also enjoying a month of activities geared especially toward them. It's officially Older Americans Month. Just check out the seniors at the Harriet G. Darnell Senior Multipurpose Facility, all decked out in their hats. The Mother's Day Tea and Mini Hat Show honor the mothers of the Darnell facility.
Mothers are our most important gifts, and I remember my mom. She was a very, very beautiful person in my life.
This is just one of the many events held this month at every senior center.
The Department of Senior Services has wonderful opportunities for the community during Older Americans Month. Just to highlight a few, one example is the Adult Day Open House. This is new to our calendar, but it's very important for the community to learn more about this very critical program.
Meanwhile, at the Benson Center, it was the annual Golden Games. Participants of the various centers compete in a myriad of games for bragging rights.
It's about participating, getting out, participating, having a good time, being together. Of course, people that compete, they like to win, so it's always a competition, but it's really more about just getting out and moving and being part of a group.
It was exciting to me. All the groups came prepared. We all worked very hard, and of course it showed because we got this. But we love doing a competition. It just shows that seniors are not old people who just sit around doing nothing.
Fulton Senior Services team has put together a full calendar of events. The month culminates with the Senior Summit Thursday, May 30th at 9 a.m. at the Darnell facility. All Fulton County seniors are invited to attend. An historic first at the Auburn Avenue Research Library when the first ever African American nurses tell their stories about serving in the first ever colored unit at the then segregated Grady Hospital.
This is really a program about nurses who integrated Grady Hospital, specifically first through the nursing program and then the hospital itself.
I graduated in 1962, entered in 1959, yeah. It was a wonderful learning experience and personal experience, and not just with nursing, but we had teachers who nurtured us and structured us and tried to shelter us, love us, and teach us. So we had to grow up being nothing but very, very self-confident.
I am a Grady baby. Segregation has been with us all of our lives, and to be able to talk about the experience at Grady, the good, bad, and the ugly, it's a thing of getting it off your chest, getting it out there where other people will understand. And not saying that the experience, I wouldn't trade anything for it.
Was there ever a time that you really thought that you wouldn't see light at the end of the tunnel?
Sometimes we forget what people before us went through to get to where they are and ultimately where we are. I think we have to constantly remind each other about our histories, because if we don't, it'll be lost. And to be able to capture and preserve it is so important. And I'm glad that the Auburn Avenue Research Library is doing that.
And still to come on Fulton Today, the Buckhead Library's youngest patrons display their finest clothes to celebrate their branch. We'll explain when we come back. Beginning this week, the College Park Library branch is closed for renovations. The branch, located on Main Street in College Park, is expected to be closed for 3 to 6 months. Similar to the Adams Park Library, which closed for the same reason last month, upgrades include new HVAC systems, roofing, upgraded technology, improved layouts, new shelving, study rooms, ADA accessible restrooms, and much more.
Well, the renovation project is going to be amazing, and while challenging at this moment, we want our patrons just to hang in with us. We know it's hard to not have your local library available to you while they're closed for renovations, but I promise you all of those other libraries are ready to serve you and look forward to seeing you.
Now, while the branch is closed, service is available at the Metropolitan, Southeast, Wolf Creek, and South Fulton libraries. Once again, patrons have been asked to transfer hold items to one of those locations as well as return library items. For up-to-date information on this renovation project and the entire library renovation project, just call the Library Renovation Hotline at 404-613-READ. That's 404-613-7323. And finally, a group of very young citizens put on their finest clothes to honor their favorite library. Staffers at the Buckhead Library hosted the first annual Kids Fashion Show to celebrate Patron Appreciation Week. Children 4 years old and younger dressed up and walked the red carpet down the middle of the library as parents and patrons cheered them on.
We wanted to show our patrons appreciation for their support. We have some very loyal participants that come weekly, twice a week, to participate in our story time and our crafts. And we just wanted to show them appreciation, give them some 15 minutes of fame of being at the Buckhead Library, and they really, really enjoyed it, and we enjoyed it as well.
It's awesome. It's a lot of fun. A lot of good interaction.
It's a great place for the kids to come and learn and socialize with other kids in the neighborhood, and just lots of great educational events.
The fashion show was a part of a 2-day-long program about the Buckhead branch. Members of the Buckhead Heritage Society also discussed how the library came to be named and presented some history about the branch. Both events were among the last before this library also closes its doors for renovations. Super cute. And before we go, our reminder that FGTV wants to connect with you online. Be sure to follow FGTV on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for up-to-date Fulton County news. You can also watch a replay of this show and any other FGTV program anytime on our YouTube channel, so please subscribe. Well, that does it for this edition of Fulton Today. I'm Shania Chavis-Rucker. Thank you so much for watching. Join us each week for news around and about Fulton County.